Hmm. Anyone out there? I don't know if anyone's gonna join my stream today. Oh, I got a viewer. Can you hear me? Whoever is watching right now, can you let me know if you can hear me? 2 people, dope. Yeah, super last minute. Super last minute. Nice. Hey, Escobar. Yeah, this is super last minute, and I follow in Christ. Yeah, I just feel like I don't really know what else to do, so I just felt like I just had to do this. I'm gonna have a lot of viewers or too many, but I think whoever is gonna be here is gonna. I mean, I wanted to record this anyways, and want to do it alone. So even if it's just like a handful of us, that's awesome. Um, wait, weird notification. Okay. Oh, it looks like more people are coming in. Is everything all right? Because I got a notification saying that they're having some trouble streaming. But yeah, can everyone just let me know if we're good? Should be fine. So I guess I'll just start off by saying what this is just following up with. This is just a follow up to this crazy thing that happened, and I still can't really get over it. Um, it was on May 1st, and I still have so much to share about it. I already made a follow up video about it, and it's funny because when it happened, I did make a decode on it, and um, but that was before I had a huge revelation by that was given to me by Zenith of the Alpha. And again, just to reiterate what happened, on he told me that on during the live stream at exactly 1 hour 54 minutes into the stream, because there was an earthquake that happened, this corona earthquake, and I had pointed it out and I said, "Oh, an earthquake just hit." And right at 1 hour 54 minutes is when I said that. And Corona, California. Let me actually show you real quick before we start, which I've done in the first place. So he mentioned that Corona, California equals 154. Corona, California. So it equals 154. And that's exactly, it was 1 hour and 54 minutes into the stream. That's when I had mentioned there was an earthquake. And that, right as that happened, oh, hey, Coffee Girl. Right as that happened, my guest that I was having on my stream, AJ Ball Don't Lie, he mentioned he was saying the word Corona right as it was happening, and there's just so much more behind it. I've already shown a video with some of the synchronicities, but I mean, there's this one. I think this is gonna top that last one, and I feel like I just need to keep making more videos. Like there's gonna be so many parts to this because this whole thing is really crazy. But let's just get started. And again, thank you for the handful of you guys who are here. It's a probably bad time for me to do this live stream, but I just had to do it. I'm also not. I'm kind of feeling a little low just because I've been like trying to. I'm in the process of getting a job, and I'm not really doing that good on my interviews. Um, admittedly, because this stuff is really, I mean, it's my fault. There's no excuse. I should be a lot more prepared, but this stuff really like it's hard for me to just have all this information going on like in my head and you know having to pretend to some people like that it's not really going on. It's so hard to. It's I'm not a really good actor, so it's hard for me to just you know just to not pretend like nothing's happening. So, anyways, again, Corona, 4.1 earthquake strikes near Corona, and I mentioned already like all the things that I guess I reviewed them real quick. I didn't put them on this, but again, if this is your first time, um, like you should watch the one before the other parts. So the Corona earthquake, it was a 4.1 earthquake, and this was completely tied to Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant he died at age 41. He was buried in Corona del Mar. This happened on the 248th anniversary of the founding of the Illuminati. And you guys know Kobe's numbers are 2, 4, and 8 because he wore 24 and 8. So 248. It was on his daughter, what would have been her 18th birthday. Um, and there was a lot more, but yeah, just try to go watch the video. But now we're gonna be so Revelation. This is gonna have to do with Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake. So this date right here, this is the day that I turned exactly 612 weeks. This is gonna be very important. So I turned exactly 612 weeks on June 30th, 2003. And let's just read the verse. So, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So looking at the date here, when Corona was incorporated, it was July 13th, 1896. So when you go from that date to my 612th week, it was 5,581 weeks exactly, and that is the 737th prime number. And that's interesting because when you look at the time of 7:37 a.m., it is 457 minutes into the day, and earthquake equals 457. So, a lot of this is gonna really explain why, I guess it happened like on my live stream. I don't know. It's just these synchronicities are crazy, and I just have to share it. I have to. And like I said in the last video, I'm sure that this is proof of God. I'm sure of it, which I feel like this is a pretty big deal. Because just think about that. Like, what are the odds? This is the city. This is the city where the earthquake near Corona, and from the incorporation date of Corona to my 612th week happens to be the 5581 weeks, the 737th prime, and 7:37 a.m. is 457 minutes into the day, and earthquake equals 457. That's let's just keep going though. There's a lot more, and this is what my friend, my mentor Casey Jones, he gave me a lot of pieces of information in this that like is the reason why I was able to put all this together. And so I thank you so much. Thank you, Casey. So he had brought up to me that the Moon Knight, like you guys know, the Moon Knight, that's my profile on my YouTube, and I'm gonna kind of show why in a little bit why I chose that. But the Moon Knight equals 457 in Latin, just like what I just showed. So the Moon Knight equals 457, and there's no way that I could have knew that was gonna happen ahead of time. You know, like there's no way. And The 457 is the 88th prime number. So keep this in mind. This is going to be extremely important for this next part, which Casey helped me with a lot. Again, hi, Kimberly. So the 88 is going to connect to this here. This is what this is. This was a counterterrorism group that was created in Indonesia. So I'm Indonesian, and I wasn't born there, but my ancestors are from there, and my dad was born there. So that's what makes this such a really like a strong connection. But what's crazy is that I can just read it real quick. So the Counterterrorism Special Detachment 88 or Densus 88 is an Indonesian national police counterterrorism squad formed on the day that I turned 612 weeks. Exactly. Hey, Joan. Oh, wow. I'm going to look into those coordinates after. That's really interesting. So look at it. So they're called Detachment 88. Detachment 88. Just like how the 88th prime number is 457 and the Moon Knight equals 457. So and just remember 457 equals earthquake. So this counterterrorism squad, and I'm going to show you what this was a response to, which makes this even crazier. This was established on the day that I turned 612 weeks. And again, the 612 for Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake. So it's like just the fact that it is detachment 88. If it was detachment 89, none of this I wouldn't have even been able to put this together. But like that was that's the key right there, I guess. But just to move on. Oh yeah, so reading this part here. So it was created after the 2002 Bali bombings. After the 2002 Bali bombings. So that happened on October 12th, 2002. So from the Bali bombings to the establishment of Detachment 88, which my 612th week, the time span was 261 days, 261. And hopefully you guys saw my last video and you probably understand the significance. But I mean, I have it here as a review. Well, this is actually some new. This is new. So first of all, Corona, California earthquake. Corona, California earthquake equals 261. And this guy right here, this is Oscar Isaac. He's the person who plays Moon Knight in the Disney Marvels. And I don't know if you guys see it yet, but the thing is, most people that know me and know him tell me that we look alike. I have been stopped in public, and someone wanted to take a picture with me, not because they actually thought that I was him, but because they were such a big fan of his, and they were like, "We love Oscar Isaac. Can we please have a picture with you?" Like, but that's why my character is Moon Knight, and Oscar Isaac, he equals 261. Okay, so um that's that for now. But just remember that from this counterterrorism squad that was established on the day I turned 612 weeks exactly as a response to these bombings was 261 days apart. And again, Corona, California earthquake equals 261. And Oscar Isaac. So Moon Knight, the first episode was March 30th, 2022. And when you go from the first episode to that Corona, California earthquake, It is exactly 109 weeks. Exactly. Um, and that's really interesting because this detachment 88, this counterterrorism squad, the one of the abbreviations is Delta 88, and Delta 88 equals 109, and 109 is the 29th prime number, and Corona equals 29, just like the city where the earthquake happened in Corona. And that same span, the same span is so again, the first episode of Moon Knight to the Corona earthquake is 763 days. So this is going to connect to 9/11 because the prime factorization of 763 is 7 times 109, and 7,109 is the 911th prime number. Okay, that's pretty interesting. And just to remind you guys, like how I said, the earthquake happened right at 1 hour and 54 minutes into the live stream in Corona, California equals 154. So when you, in terms of the Bible and Revelation 9:11 is the 154th verse of Revelation. So there is a very strong, like, that says a lot, that from Moon Knight to the first episode of Moon Knight to the Corona, California earthquake, 763 days, 763 is 7 times 109, and 7,109 is the 911th prime. Now, going back to the bombings, the Bali bombings, which were the trigger for the establishment of Detachment 88, which was my 612th week. Like, see, this is all just going. It just from those bombings to the first episode of Moon Knight is 7,109 days, the 911th prime. So let's look at this. So this is the anchor right here. Well, okay, so from the bombings to the first episode of Moon Knight, 7,109 days, 911 prime. And then from Moon Knight to the Corona, California earthquake is 763 days. 763 is 7 times 109. And 7109 is the 911th prime. So just like, it's perfect. Like that the first episode of Moon Knight is like a key to that connection right there. And it happened during my live stream, and I just have so many crazy connections with it. And again, that was a counterterrorism, or that was a bombing that happened in Indonesia, where my ancestors are from. My ancestors are from Indonesia. So there's no way I could have known that, what are the sheer odds I was gonna, like, that's why I chose Moon Knight as my character, because I look like him, like, and people told me that. And how was I gonna know that? How could that have happened, where that earthquake was gonna line up perfectly with during my live stream, right at the 1 hour 54-minute mark in Corona, California equals 154. Like, this is why this is proof of God. This is God is like has been doing everything to make this all line up for this very moment. And there's so much more. There's so much more. Looking at the 109 again, remember the 109 we got from the first episode of Moon Knight to the earthquake was 109 weeks. Delta 88 equals 109. 109 is the 29th prime, and Corona equals 29. So the 109th triangular number is 5995, 5,995. And when you convert that into that date here, so going forward in the future, from the Corona earthquake to 5995 is 71 years, 0 months, and 9 days. Again, 7109. Like, you guys Seeing the pattern? 71 years, 0 months, 9 days. 7109 is the 911th prime from the Corona earthquake to the 109th triangular number. And this counterterrorism squad equals 109. And it was 109 weeks from the first episode of Moon Knight, which that's, my profile picture, to the Corona earthquake. I hope you guys are seeing the pattern. Like it's there. It's there. It's not like I don't know how this is all happening. I really don't. So now this part right here is going to be the prerequisite for the next slide. So just follow along with me right here. So we've been looking at 612. Remember, this started from my 612th week. That's when the detachment 88 was established on my exact 612th week. And Revelation 612 is about the great earthquake. So the 612th prime number is 4,513. And the 4,513th prime number is 43,223. And 43 times 223, that is the prime factorization of this number here, 9,589. May have showed that before. I think I have. But, I mean, I'm just... there it is again. So this is a big earthquake number right here, 9589. So you got to keep this in your arsenal. 9589 is a big earthquake number. So I can just show you one more time and then I'll show why or how this applies to everything. Revelation 6:12 is about the great earthquake. The 612 prime number is 4,513. The 4,513th prime number is 43,223. And 43 times 223 is the prime factorization of 9589. So we're going to convert that into this date, 9589. So from that date to my birth is the same span. You guys seeing that? This extremely coded earthquake number, which I just showed why it is, to my birth, is the same span as from the first episode of Moon Knight to the Corona, California earthquake. What are the odds of that? What are the odds that, yes, I mean, to many people, I look like Moon Knight. I look like Oscar Isaac, which is why that's my profile picture. And from the first episode of Moon Knight to the Corona, California earthquake is the same span as this heavily coded number right here. From that date to my birth is the same span. That's impossible. That's impossible. And it's perfect too. It's like perfect weeks. And I showed how this number connects to 9/11, and it happened right at the 1 hour 54 mark. And Revelation 9/11 is the 154th verse of Revelation. That is absolutely impossible to happen unless there's a God, and there is. And that's on top of everything else I already shared in the last video. It's unbelievable, and now when you go from that date, this earthquake date, I'm just gonna call this earthquake date, from this great earthquake date to the Bali bombings, which were the trigger for the counterterrorism squad that was established on the day that I turned 612 weeks exactly. That was 13 years and 37 days. So the bombings happened 13 years, 37 days after 9589. and that's the 6 and 12 prime numbers. Like, that's like I said, like, this is all impossible. It's just yes, you see that? Like, that means that this was planned by whoever. I don't know. I'm not saying it was fake. I'm not saying it wasn't. I don't know. But this just was planned perfectly with this time frame um before this like heavily coded earthquake date. um I can show you. Let's just show it one more time. This 9589 one more time. Let's just show it. So the prime factorization of 9589 is 43 times 223. 43,223 is the 4,513th prime number, and 4,513 is the 612 prime number. And to from that date to the Bali bombings, which triggered, I mean, I don't have to say it again, 13 years, 37 days, the 6 and 12 prime numbers. It's unbelievable, guys. This is unbelievable. Like, I don't know how, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm thinking about, I don't know, like writing a book or something. I'm literally thinking about writing a book because, like, this is, this could literally, like, this kind of information could, I, I, it's just hard because I know, like, in terms of waking people up to the fact that God exists, like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, I think religion would gatekeep because they, like, they wouldn't want people to know that God exists outside of their, like, their own, um, I guess, what is most common to, like, the mainstream church. I know there's a lot of Christians in here who are like, I'm a Christian, but, like, I'm like, my perspective is coming from, like, such a different place, and I know that, like, if you guys are here at my channel, you guys are probably on the same page as me, like, if you're a Christian, because, like, um, most Christians wouldn't even dare to, um, expose themselves to any of this kind of stuff. So if you're here already, you're already, like, I know you understand where I'm coming from, and, um, I wouldn't be able to take this to any, like, any church or any pastor and be like, I got proof of God, like, recorded right here, and you can just, but they would just be like, no, like, you don't need that. You don't need that to prove to people that God exists. But I mean, this is just, and then let's just keep going. So again, the earthquake happened at 1 hour 54 minutes into the stream. Exactly. Again, thank you to Zenith. And Corona, California equals 154. So that was all I needed. That's all I needed. And then everything else was just like, so again, we're talking about Indonesia, and that's where my family's from. That's where my dad was born. That's where this, the whole counterterrorism detachment 88 group. And Kimberly, that's such a good point. That's such a good point. But yeah, so Indonesia happens to equal 248. And we already saw all the connections with Kobe, and this earthquake, Kobe, and then those are Kobe's numbers 24 and 8. So Indonesia happens to equal 24-8. And this earthquake happened on the 248th birthday of the Illuminati on John O'Brien's birthday, her 18th birthday. And I guess just to reiterate, because AJ, he was right, the sentence that he was saying right when the earthquake happened, he was talking about Cladex and how it was 666 days before the C Rona virus was declared a can't even talk, but yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. So he was saying that sentence. Oh, what's up, Dirk? Dirk, how you doing? So he was saying that sentence about Claydex, um, and the 666. So the fact that it was Gianna Bryant's 18th birthday, um, yeah, we're still alive. Are we? Am I still alive? I think so. But so it was, she was 18 years old, or she would have been 18 years old, and she would have been 216 months. So 8 plus 18 is 6 plus 6 plus 6, and 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. So it was just planned perfectly. Obviously, that, like, it was planned perfectly for that to be the 248th birthday of the Illuminati. But the fact that it was coming out of AJ's mouth, the Claydex being conducted 666 days before 3/11/2020. Like, so moving on. Okay. So so where my dad was actually born was Jakarta. Dang, got a lot of people right now. Cool. Um Thanks to everyone who's here. I just want to say thanks. I know this is super last minute, probably a bad time. For me it's like a Friday night. I just, yeah, I really had to do this. So yeah, again, thank you for everyone who's here. But gotta stress, this is a really important video. So as much fun as I would like to have, I think I do want to stress how important it is as well. Hi Joan and Paul. God bless you too, Paul. Thank you for kind words. Okay, so Jakarta, let me get back on track. Um Jakarta, Indonesia, that is where my dad was from. Jakarta, Indonesia. So Jakarta equals 793 in Latin. And 793, the prime factorization is 13 times 61. And that connects to this whole 154 thing because the 154th prime number is 887. And when you add 154 plus its prime, it equals 1041. 1041. So when you look at that as a time on the clock, 10:41 p.m., it's 1361 minutes into the day, just like 1361. So Jakarta is tied to this even more. Like, so Jakarta, Indonesia, that's, so Indonesia is the country, Jakarta is the I guess city. But yeah, so like, what are the odds that both of those numbers, and like, um just how I showed how Indonesia is so tied to the earthquake, and where the odds that my ancestors are from there. So just to move on a little bit, this is what makes it even crazier. So like I showed you, it happened at 1 hour and 54 minutes exactly, and the 154th prime is 887, and 887 plus 154 equals 1041, and Jakarta, Indonesia equals 1041. So like, after everything I had already shown, and then now this, like, what, like, how is this happening? How is this happening? How did everything line up so that there would be an earthquake that I would feel during my live stream? And keep in mind, I'm I should have a job. I should have a job right now. I should. But it's been a little bit of a struggle, and that's why I've had time to do live streams like in the mornings and stuff. And it makes me think, like, if I if I had a job right now, like, I would not have been able to experience this. So it's like, it shows me that God has me exactly where he wants me to be. There's no other way to there's just no other way for me to see that. you know? And I'm not gonna use that as an excuse to keep being like jobless and stuff. I'm still gonna work my hardest, you know. It's just like if things don't work out, then I know for sure it's part of God's plan because that is exactly why this is all happening, you know? And like it's like God knew that this was gonna happen. He knew the whole time. He knew when it was gonna happen, and I guess he knew that he was gonna use me as a um I don't know, I guess a vessel to show his work, you know. So I have not seen a lot of other examples like this out there. Like I've heard a lot of great things and I I um I believe it. I believe everybody's stories, you know, but it's like this is on camera. Like like it's proof of God on camera, you know. It's like you know when you see like videos of ghosts or something like that, you know. It's like yeah, there's a bunch of like these paranormal like things caught on tape. This like this is like one of those, but just like a million times better. This is proof of God, especially with all this background information, you know. And it's like if he didn't give me the abilities that he has given me thus far, I wouldn't have even been able to make these connections, you know, like just to decode the way that I do, you know, like because I don't. It's there's not a lot of people who use these techniques, like you know, like I taking the primes, adding it, like taking a number, adding its prime, and then like finding like meaning behind that too. Like, um, I have to admit, there's not a lot of people who do that, you know, and it's just if I wasn't using these techniques already, because I've been using these, um, then like it probably would have been a cool thing to happen, but like it wouldn't like we wouldn't be able to fully unwrap it the way that we are able to now, if that makes sense. But so here's where here's where it gets crazy, you know. And then so I feel safe showing this to you guys because I know that you guys are mature, you know. Like I that's why I had to move away from the Instagram space because you know like they will accuse you. They're like, "Oh, you're a puppet. Oh, you're one of them. You're in the club." Like for some stuff like this, and it's so like immature. So, but no, it's showing like it's just showing that God really has like really lined up everything for this, you know. So Zenith, he also informed me during the live stream when I went on Cody's live stream that the 154th composite number, and he is the composite number guy. Like he's the one who is, you know, I never would have thought about composite numbers if it wasn't for him. So he informed me that the 154th composite number, which that's just, you know, like a prime number is a number that's just divisible by one in itself. And the composite number is the opposite. So it's any number that's not a prime. I believe that's correct. But anyways, the 154th composite number is 201. And that is so relevant because again, right as AJ was um saying that word, right when the earthquake hit, it was about um it was about um the exercise that took place, Claydex, before the actual P happened. Um and so the 201 you guys know of event 201. That's the one that I think everyone here knows for sure, event 201, you know. But when my name happens to equal 201, my first and last name equals 201. And so does Jorge Mario Bergoglio. That's Pope Francis's full name. We'll get into him a little bit later, but keep that in mind. Okay, so going back to this date that we started with, which was when I turned 612 weeks exactly. Um, so from and or so this was when I this was a span of 612 weeks from my birth. So this was the day before Detachment 88 was established. Detachment 88, the counterterrorism group in Indonesia. Um So from this date to, well, if you guys don't already know, my dad, he died of lung cancer when I was 7 years old, and I've just found so many things that just show um, that that had to happen too. It's weird, but it just maybe some of the things I'll show you today will corroborate that. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. Like, obviously it sucks, but um, it just I just trust God. Um, these are the kind of things that make me realize, like, whatever bad things that I have to go through, that I have to experience, it's like, um, it really, I mean, God has a plan for me. And I used to think that in a really cliche way, but now I'm like seeing it with my own eyes, and I'm like, I believe that more than I've ever believed it in my life. So, one second. Sorry, guys. Okay, so from the day that, or it was a span of 612 weeks from my birth, which the day before the detachment 88, and remember the 88th prime is 457 and earthquake equals 457. To the day that my dad, oh, sorry, okay. So my dad died first. So from my dad's death to the day that I turned, that was 612 weeks after my birth. It was exactly 201 weeks. Exactly 201 weeks. Just like how the 154th composite number is 201, and um my name equals 201. So exactly 201 weeks. Casey showed me this too. So thank you, Casey. Like, Sven, what's good, man? Yeah, so Casey helped, like, some of the things he told me, like, three things, like, he just shared with me, and it just opened up this whole thing. So all right, so now August 7th, 2004, that's when I turned 154 months. Um, exactly 154 months. And again, Corona, California equals 154. That an hour 54 minutes into the live stream is when the earthquake happened. So from my dad's death to my 154th month, it was exactly 259 weeks. And the prime factorization of 259 is 7 times 37, like how we looked at in the beginning. That 737 is 457 minutes into the day, and earthquake equals 457, and 457 is the 88th prime, and they created detachment 88 the day that turned 612 weeks. Like, do you guys see that? Do you guys see how crazy that is? Are you guys understanding that? And great, and 612 is Revelation 612 about the great earthquake. Like, this is all stemming from the Corona earthquake. Like that, like, I'll say that again. That like, the day that turned 154 months is August 7th, 2004. And from my dad's death to the day I turned 154 months is exactly 259 weeks, which is 7 times 37. And 737 is 457 minutes into the day. Earthquake equals 457. 457 is the 88th prime. Detachment 88 was established on the day that I turned 612 weeks. And Revelation 6:12 is about the great earthquake. And this is in Indonesia, where my dad was born. Like, no, I have no idea, dude. It's hard. It's really hard just because, like, you guys are really the only ones who, like, understand me. And, like, man, I can't even, like, it's so hard because, like, um, you know, I just, I wanted, I want more people, like, around me to, like, I could share this with. Like, I'm gonna go back home this weekend and hang out with my mom for Mother's Day. And um, you know, I've tried to talk to her about this stuff before, and it just, she just gets worried because well, she's a Christian, which is great, and I'm like, I'm happy about that. But like I just, I feel like the things that I'm experiencing right now are like comparable to like what people experience in the Bible, like Noah and Moses, and like having these encounters with God, and like I feel like I'm literally have like that's literally happening to me right now, and I just, you know, um, 1 second. Okay, so just to move on, so this same span from my dad's death to it's my 154th month. It's 1812 days, and 18 hours and 12 minutes into the day is 6:12 p.m. Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake. Like it's unbelievable. And Kimberly, she says it is hard to be awake, to have sight, and to communicate with our Holy Spirit. That's what's really weird, is that, I feel like I don't deserve this. I know, like, I don't feel like I've been, like, I don't feel like I'm worthy. Um, like, you know, there was a point in my time, like early um into my Christianity, where I was like really gun ho, and I was like just so stern about staying like pure and in everything, and um like I'm not saying like that's not something to strive for. It's still great, but like I'm not where I've been at one point, and now I'm like, this is all like I don't get why God's choosing me, to do to for all this. But it was like destined the whole time. Um 1 second. Sorry, there's just people contacting me. Sorry, give me a second. How's everyone doing today? Everyone having a um good day, good night, whatever time it is for you. I know people are probably listening from different places. Okay, this is just where it gets even crazier. So okay, so again, this is when I turn 154 months. Remember that the 154th Phil, how you doing? Oh, what's up, Sylvia? Um, that's crazy that you mentioned the 822, because Cody, he had a crazy synchronicity today. Um if you guys were watching his live stream, he started his live stream early, and he was talking about the number 222. That was what his whole presentation was about. And he started it at 8:22 in his time, because he's in Germany, but it was 2:22 in on the east here. So that means that's what his whole presentation was about. He didn't even mean, he didn't calculate it like that. So there's a lot of crazy things happen. I just feel like we're in a really crazy time, where like a lot of things are be, being revealed, and I think this is why this is all happening right now, and like I'm sure it's gonna be happening to other people too. But I just want to share just my experience. So the 154, my 154th month, when you go from my when the day remember, like how Zenith um informed me that the 154th composite number is 201. 154th composite number is 201. So from the day that I turned 154 months event 201, this, don't want to say it out loud, is exactly 793 weeks. You guys remember that number, 793? Jakarta, where my dad was born, is 793, and 793 is 13 times 61. 1361 minutes is 10:41 p.m. and 10:41 is 154 plus its prime number, 887. So that's insane, absolutely insane, that from the day I turned 154 months to event 201 is 793 weeks. That's absolutely insane. Real quick, one more time, the 793 connects to the 201 because the 154th prime composite number is 201, 154. And remember that the corona earthquake hit at 1 hour 54 minutes into the live stream. Jakarta equals 793. 793 is 13 times 61. 1361 minutes is 10:41 p.m. 10:41 equals 154 plus its prime number. That's absolutely crazy, guys. That's crazy. That's and just to show just more, just Moon Knight equals 126. Corona, California earthquake equals 126. We're talking about how it had so much to do with Kobe. Kobe died on 126. And this revelation happened to me on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, which is really known for Corona beers. And thank you to Uncanny Deduction. His response to my video was phenomenal. Like, oh my God, just showing the connection with the lime and the Corona. And my name, Sean equals lime in like, I don't know, 10 ciphers or something, maybe more than that. But that was on the 126th day of the year when it was all the revelation happened. So it's just everything is just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And earthquake equals 107. Now check this out. This is like I could not have planned. Like I didn't. I'm telling you, I did not plan this. And it's probably easy for people to think I did, but I didn't. So again, earthquake equals 107. My birthday is 10/7. One sec. So Sean Ricardo Idrusi Desad. So what that is, so my full name is Sean Ricardo Desad. My middle name is Ricardo. My dad's name was Ricardo. His name was Ricardo Idrusi Desad. So Sean Ricardo Idrusi Desad. That's both of our names put together. So Sean Ricardo Idrusi Desad equals 107 in the keypad cipher. That's the cipher that you would use like as a teenager, growing up. Like with your texting, like if you wanted to type an A, you'd have to, or if you want to type the letter C, you'd have to type the first number like 3 times, like 222. So that's the keypad cipher. And then Sean Desad, the Moon Knight, equals 107 as well. So literally it's like what? Like how, like it could have been any, I could have been any character. I could have been Spider-Man. Could have been Batman. Had to be Moon Knight. Had to be Moon Knight. Like and they match in the same cipher. Like it's crazy, and they both equal earthquake. And my birthday is October 7, 10/7. Like, and what's also crazy too is that my birthday is 91. The 91 freeway passes through Corona, where the earthquake was near. The 91 freeway, and 91 connects to Kobe and Gianna too, because 91, I could just show you real quick. So like that's what's interesting about the number 91 when you um so 91 is the sixth square pyramidal and the 13th triangular. And the sixth prime is 13. 13 is the sixth prime. And then 41 is the 13th prime. And Gianna and Kobe were 13 and 41 when they died. So it's like that 91 is a huge part of their, the whole connection. And when you go from the first episode or from the Corona virus pandemic, that thing you guys know, March 11th, it's right there, to the first episode of Moon Knight is 107 weeks exactly. 107 weeks exactly. And Earthquake equals 107. And I just showed you all that. And it's like the corona part, it's insane, dude. It's absolutely insane. All right, so Kimberly, your son's birthday is October 7th. Nice. 88. That's crazy because we were talking about the 88 and the 88th prime number is 457 and earthquake equals 457. So that is that's wild. So now I'm gonna be talking about this verse here. Psalms 107 or 1171. This is the very middle of the Bible. This is the five well, the middle chapter of the Bible is the 595th chapter, which this starts the 595th. So it's interesting because Corona, California earthquake equals 1171. Okay, so keep that in mind. 1171, 1171, and that happens to be right the middle of the Bible. Like I said, it begins the 595th middle chapter of the whole Bible. And so you see here, Corona, it says the circle city. The circle city equals 595. Also, this phrase right here, Sean of the Sod, which this is how I have it written on my, I can show you real quick on my YouTube. Have it just as like as a pronunciation. Sean of the Sod. See that? So Sean of the Sod equals 595 as well as the circle city. And the 595th chapter, Psalms 1171, and Corona, California earthquake equals 1171. I'm like really like, and so when you take Psalms 1171, the whole verse plus the phrase in the beginning, it equals 404. And that's interesting because for one, there's 404 total verses in Revelation, but also when you take my first and last name plus my YouTube handle, that also equals 404. So that's a huge connection right there. They both equal 404. Like my first and last name and my YouTube handle that happens to match Psalms 1171 and Corona, California earthquake equals 1171, and the earthquake happened during my life. Like sometimes I just don't even know how to respond to this stuff. The circle city equals what's in my bio, my YouTube bio. And I appreciate you guys for thank you, Dirk. Yeah, I can't help but believe that. It's just so mind blowing. So now we're gonna bring Pope Francis back into the equation because remember, my name equals 201. Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201. So Pope Francis also equals 404 in Latin. And there's something really interesting. I shared this on Cody's live stream. So Pope Francis equals 507 in Satanic. And the prime factorization of 507 is 3 times 13 times 13. That's the date that he became the 266th Pope. And that's the second, the sixth, and sixth prime numbers. So it's completely just so freaking coded. It's insane. But when you go from the day that he turned, or the day that he became the Pope, to the Corona, California earthquake is 11 years, 7 weeks, and 1 day. 1171, just like Psalms 1171. Just like Corona, California earthquake equals 1171. Yeah, like these really are miracles, and they are miracles, and they're just. I'm so blessed to just be in the position where I can share them. You know. Um, Sorry, give me a second. 355. Um. What's really cool about doing all this number stuff is I feel like I can memorize like phone numbers and addresses and stuff like really, really fast now. It's come in handy. Um, so yeah, I hope everyone's doing good so far. Just maybe give everyone's brain a second to rest. So yeah, I mean, I just thought it was crazy enough that Pope Francis equals 404, you know, but um oh, okay, so another thing I didn't okay, I'll just mention it real quick. I didn't write it, but we're talking about all this 88 stuff and like cuz the 88th prime number is 457 and then detachment 88. So this connects to the 595 because of Sirius the dog star. I'm just going to go over real fast. Sirius the dog star. Um the Greek in Greek Sirius equals 595. Um, and the heliacal rising of Sirius, which is it means that um, over San Francisco, from the perspective of San Francisco, Sirius disappears on May 23rd. It disappears for 77 days, and then on August 8th is when it's you can see it before sunrise. So August 8th is like the heliacal rising of Sirius. So 8 Sirius equals 595. Um, so I just wanted to bring that up real quick because it's super relevant to this whole thing. But all right, so Corona earthquake again. It was on May 1st, and so this is all just going to show why Pope Francis is so like connected to this whole thing. So May 1st was the 122nd day of the year. Pope Francis equals 122. 122, the prime factorization is 2 times 61. Corona, California earthquake equals 261 in ordinal. The 122nd prime number is 673. And great earthquake equals 673. So that's just like a slam dunk right there. I forgot to show it too, but 5 just to let's just show this one more time and then I'll show like what I'm about to say. So May 1st is the 122nd day of the year. Pope Francis equals 122. 122 equals 2 times 61. Corona, California earthquake equals 261. The 122nd prime number is 673. And Great Earthquake equals 673. So and just to get us back to the 261, for one, Kobe, he he lived in Newport Beach, and if you look on the map, the 261 freeway goes right to Newport Beach. I didn't include that in here, but it's, you know, it's true. But let's look at the number 51. The 50 uh the 51st square, so 51 times 51 is 2601. So that 5-1, like, for it was just so coded. It was crazy coded. Like, insanely coded. That there would be a Corona, California earthquake on that day, and that equals 261. Just now, 261 minutes into the day is 421. So maybe if you guys know, there's a lot of 421 that has to do with, like, um I mean, two examples are Queen Elizabeth, her birthday was 421, and Prince died on 421. So the two instances of, like, corona, crown, like, royalty. But yeah, 421 is the 261st minute of the day, and the 421st prime number is 2909. So when you convert that into this date, 2909. Oh yeah, so that whole thing that happened with Kobe Naganu, the UFC fighter's son, Kobe Naganu, like, that all happened, like, to connect to all of this. You know, I'm about to show that right now. So this is one example of that, and there's gonna be a few more. So the 400, again, the 421, 261 minutes into the day, the 421st prime number is 2909. So when you convert that into the date 2909, to Kobe, the death of Kobe Naganu, or the announcement of the death of Kobe Naganu, it was exactly 6,012 weeks. Exactly. So, like, what are the odds that, like, if this was all just a coincidence, you know, like, um that on the day that Kobe Naganu died, um it was 60,012 weeks away from this date, which represents the prime number of 421, and 421 is 261 minutes into the day, and then 2 days later there would be an earthquake on 5-1, the 122nd day of the year, and 122 is 2 times 61, a Corona, California earthquake. Like, do you see? Like, and then 2 days later, after Kobe Naganu died, there'd be an earthquake that, like, would totally match with, like, Kobe's whole life. Like, you know, like, if somebody was, it's definitely possible for somebody to have been able to predict all that. But I don't really predict things, you know. I break it down afterwards, but I mean, so now, going from death, Kobe Bryant's death, to the announcement of the death of Kobe Naganu is, it was 222 weeks in one day, 2221. And that's interesting because, um the time of 2221 is 13:41 minutes into the day. Just like Gianna and Kobe were 13 and 41 years old when they died. And I showed this before, but I had at the time I had 533 subscribers when this all happened, and the prime factorization of 533 is 13 times 41. Like, do you guys understand how impossible this all is? Like, there's so much, and I don't like I don't. And the reason why that 22:21 is so interesting, because that is the final verse of the Bible. Revelation 22:21 is the final verse of the whole Bible. So Kobe and Gianna, like, their deaths matched with that. And so what are the odds that from Kobe's death to, I mean, that's what's really peculiar, that they announced, sometimes when people die, they don't announce their death until like 2 days later. So they announced it 222 weeks in one day, 2221, 2221 a.m. a.m. Should say p.m. Just say p.m. But is 13:41 minutes into the day. So now look at this too. 80,460 seconds, 8:46. I think you guys probably are aware what that is. We saw the 9/11 numbers before. So let's look at here first. So that was the time that the first tower was hit on 9/11. 8:46. Just like 8:46, 80,460 seconds, 8:46. So not only that, but when you look at the day 429, 429. So the fourth prime is 7, the 29th prime is 109, just like 7109, the 911th prime. So it just lined up perfectly. Remember we saw I don't want to go all the way back, but let me see. Remember we looked at the 7109 a lot earlier? Like from the Bali bombings that were the trigger for the Detachment 88, which was established when I turned exactly 612 weeks old, to the first episode of Moon Knight was 7,109 days. And that's my profile picture. Sorry guys, I'll try to get through this, I know it's probably getting probably draining your guys' brains right now. Okay. So again, they announced Kobe Naganu's death on April 29, 429. Fourth prime is 7, 29th prime is 109. 7109 is a 911th prime. And if you remember, they the time of the earthquake was 1:49 p.m. And the 149th square is 2221. It just lines up perfectly. And Revelation equals 149. I forgot to write it, but Revelation equals 149. Just 2221. And 2221 is 13:41 minutes into the day. Like, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And if you go from 2221 to the Corona earthquake, it's 3 years, 89 days. 3 times 89 is a prime factorization of 267. And first of all, the 267 I've talked about a lot, and it's really important. The Golden Gate, which the Golden Gate Bridge is a symbol of the Golden Gate in the sky. The Golden Gate is at the 267th degree of the ecliptic. And Sean Desaad, my first and last name, equals 267, and Kobe Bean Bryant equals 267. So going a little bit further, 267, the prime factorization is 3 times 89, just like it's 3 years, 89 days. from 2221 to the Corona earthquake. And 3 is the second prime, 89 is the 24th prime. 224. 224, you know. Gianna, war number 2, Kobe war number 24. Corona equals 224. Their memorial was on 224, the 55th day of the year. Earthquake equals 55. This revelation came to me on 5/5 Cinco de Mayo with the Corona beer. It's all crazy, just so crazy. And like the Golden Gate thing is important because you should definitely go watch Uncanny Deduction's video about how um like he showed why he, you know, found such a strong connection with me, and like because he's been keeping up with my Golden Gate work. I've been talking about the Golden Gate for a while, and he was able to find the connection with that and my findings on all this, or this thing happening with the Corona earthquake. So thinking about Pope Francis again, Pope Francis again, I told you he's the 266th Pope. So when you go from my birth to the announcement of the death of Kobe Naganu is exactly 1699 weeks, and that is the 266 prime. And 266, the sum of divisors is 480, and earthquake equals 480 in Latin. So this 266, 267 thing is huge. I mean, I'm guessing, you know, so whatever the next pope, he's gonna be the 267th pope. So it's just something to look out for. So 266 plus 267, the last. So this is the Golden Gate. This is the degree of the Golden Gate. This is the last one. 266 plus 267, that equals 533. Just like how how I had 533 subscribers, and 13 times 41 is 533. Or yeah, that's a prime factorization of 533. And when you add 533 plus 13 plus 41, it equals 587. That's the 107th prime number. And earthquake equals 107. Remember all those 107s I showed you. Now, the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. Showed this many times. Learned this from 7-1 in Casey Jones. So Francis became the Pope again on March 13, 2013. So from the day that he became the Pope to the announcement of the death of Kobe Naganu, which, you know, been looking at a bunch of for like 4 slides, 580 weeks and 5 days, 585. So this whole thing, like the thing with Kobe Naganu, that whole thing was all like connected to, like, it was like pretty good programming or something for the earthquake that was going to be happening in a few days, but it was all just all tied, you know, like there's absolutely no way that like there would just coincidentally be this earthquake perfectly a few days after that. Like, so 266, the prime factorization is 2 times 7 times 19. And I promise I'm almost done. Okay. So just almost there. So 2719 to the Corona earthquake, which was 2 days after Kobe Naganu died. 5 years, 85 days. Just like how the study of earthquakes began in 585 BC. 585. And from when Francis became the Pope to the actual death of Kobe Naganu, because he died on April 27th. And I also forgot to write it, but 427, that connects to the 267 because 427 on the clock is the 267th minute of the day. So from Francis becoming the Pope to the death of Kobe Naganu is 44,064 days. Pope Francis equals 464. And Sean Ricardo de Sade, my first, middle, and last name equals 464 in Latin. And then there just happened to be an earthquake like shortly after that on my live stream. Now, this date, this is when Pope Francis turned 4,513 weeks exactly. And when you go from his 4,513th week to the revelation of all this happening, which was again May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, is 46 weeks and 4 days. 464. So just perfect that it was on 5/5, Cinco de Mayo, Corona de Mayo, earthquake equals 55, and it was 46 weeks and 4 days after Pope Francis turned 4,513 weeks. And 4,513 is 612 prime number. Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake. Pope Francis equals 464, and Sean Ricardo de Sade equals 464. Almost done. I have like 2 slides. So I turned 4,513 days on February 14th, 2004. 1 second. So I turned 4,513 days on February 14th. Pope Francis, he turned 4,513 weeks on June 14th, 2023. So when you go from my, I wrote it wrong order. Sorry. When you go from my 4,513th day, again, 4513 is a 612 prime number, Revelation 6:12 about the great earthquake. So from my 4,513th day to Pope Francis's 4,513th week is exactly 232 months. And look at this. My name, my first and last name with my YouTube handle, exactly how it's spelled, is 232 in ordinal. And also, what I showed you, Sean Ricardo Idrusi Desad, which is a mix of my name and my dad's name. My name's Sean Ricardo Desad. My dad's name is Ricardo Idrusi Desad. So that equals 232 as well. And it's 232 months exactly from my 4,513th week to Pope Francis's, or my 4,513th day to Pope Francis's 4,513th week. 232 months. Exactly. Van Dabs, I gotta look into that rule of Kolol. I don't know much about it, but I will check it out. This is the last slide. Okay, this is the last slide. So Cody, he talked about this on his stream today. The article, the really big one, which was about, they're just talking about like a future earthquake. And when the article came out on July 13th, 2015. So from the release of the really big one to Kobe's death is exactly 237 weeks. Sean Desade, my first and last name equals 237 in Latin. So how could that have happened so perfectly that there's gonna, with all that, that there would be there would be an earthquake, Corona, California earthquake, 4.1, and he died at age 41, and he left the court with 4.1 seconds left in the game and his last shot was over number 41 of the Utah Jazz. And that was going to happen in Corona right at the 1 hour 54-minute mark with all that stuff that I just showed you with 154, 201, Pope Francis, like Indonesia, like what? And my that's where my family's from. This is like this is unreal. But I don't want to keep you guys for too long because we've been talking for hour 25 minutes. I thought it was gonna take a lot longer, but I just want to say like, I'm gonna have to leave soon. But I want to say thank you guys all so much for sticking around for this whole thing. Thank you for being here. It was super last minute, super late. And again, like I really um appreciate you guys for helping me during this time because I'm just, it's really hard. Like yeah, it's hard just like going through these job interviews and doing a bad job because I know I could do so much better, and it's just I know I'm being like really like restricted by all this like crazy stuff going on in my life, and it's hard for me to I should be able to control it, but it's just hard. It's easier said than done. Um, and if it wasn't for you guys, like just to be here to um just support me, I'd be in a really rough place, like a really bad place. So thank you guys all just for being here. Thank you, Dirk. Thank you, Sven. Um, Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly. I don't know if Phil's still there, and Sylvia, Coffee Girl, Paul, just Carrie Ann, everyone who's here. Like I know, like um, hopefully one day, like I can get my streams to be as like poppin' as like Cody's or the other channels, like even Joseph. That'd be great. But I know that everything is like I've yeah, no problem, Coffee Girl. It's just like I've talked about in the beginning, everything is all on God's timing, and um it's just freaking, if that's what is if I am meant to get to that point, then oh, that's awesome. But then if not, then it's obviously meant to be like that. So thank you guys. I will hopefully talk to you guys soon. Wish me luck in everything. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Yeah, take care. Peace out.